I don't give a shit about you. You knew.
Wow. The idea of there being a single right way to make a thing is insane to me.
Let me bring this back to food because I think I
Yes.
have a much higher ground to stand on the food.
Anyone who does this, you're an idiot. Don't do that.
So I'm going to be trying to do the standing podcast today. It's a hot new idea, and I think more people should try it. My only concern is that I'm going to be too far away from the microphone, so it's not going to like pick up as cleanly as I want.
Honestly, you're coming through pretty cleanly. I was gonna say I wish we had your camera on, because I feel like we would get big hands, Noah.
Oh, you already have big hands, Noah.
Yeah, because I have hung out with you before, and I know that. I have big hands, Noah. Oh shit! Oh no signal. Never mind. Noah tried to turn his camera on, and now it just says no signal. I appreciate the attempt.
Yeah, no, it's trying to pick up from my dead Elgato. Half a sec.
Don't worry about it. It's okay. It's gonna be very distracting to see hands, Noah. I won't lie to you. Noah's big Italian.
Well, in fairness,
big Italian
it's also
energy.
Right now. You know the Babish view. You ever watch his videos?
I think I do. Yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely looking at shoulders down on me right now, which is to me, I think it's very funny.
That is pretty funny.
And because I'm blocking the light, you're getting a lot of like shadow, so it makes my tattoos look great.
Yeah,
I'm showing the whole system off right now. You can't see. But I'm just like, hello, here we are.
Oh,
it's
there we go. Yeah.
podcasting time, baby. Let's do a podcast.
It looks like you're like about to drop the worst political take of 2023, and you don't want your face attached to it.
Voice encoder sound.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. I'm with a lot of there has to be okay. So here's one of my favorite things about shit like that, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna totally abandon the bit and just talk about what I like about the bit
because it's a good bit.
Most of these shit ass takes, like you get the Republican in truck video. I'm gonna move this up because I'm sick of looking at my torso. Move over, Rob Zombie Funko Pop. It's camera time.
Damn, there's Noah. That sure is a Noah of a time. I think I have that exact lamp.
Everyone has that exact lamp.
Lamp.
It's like $20. You buy them at thrift stores for $5. Mm-hmm. Everyone has them. It's a plastic bowl with a light bulb in it. No one doesn't have this lamp. It's a big fucking 6-foot tall stick with a light on it.
All right.
Anyway, my favorite thing about shitty political videos is, you get your Republican in a car with a hat and the sunglasses, or a truck. I'm sorry, in a truck. And there's so much ambient noise because these are not professional video people.
Mm-hmm.
These are people, actually, probably more of them are professional than I would like to admit. Professional in the sense of this is their actual job, is just post hot takes and move on with their day.
Yep.
But I'm a huge fan of guys who are like in the cleanest truck you've ever seen. So, they don't need a truck. I'm going to put, we're tying my whole opinion on this into this. If you don't have a dirty truck, you don't need a truck. There's no reason for you to have something like that.
If you have a clean truck, I do kind of wonder what do you...
You just want a truck because you got a small dick and you don't know how to compensate otherwise. Come on, get with the fucking times. There's no reason to have a giant truck with a 4-foot grill on the front that runs people down because you can't see anything if you're not using it for all the stuff. Trucks like that are made to replace semis in small maneuvering situations where you're moving around shit. If you are going to a job site and you have to bring like 600 pounds of concrete dust in your car, you got a truck for that. That's what those things are for. They are literally almost as powerful as a semi-truck. Anyway, that's not the point. You got a guy who sits in that and it's pristine, fresh off the lot, clean. So they don't work using it. Then there's so much ambient noise because they're recording in their truck outside at a public location instead of like in their own driveway or something. They'll be like, well, just stop by Dunkin' Donuts, and they pick up their coffee to show you. And they're like, and the person, I don't know if it was a man or a woman. And it's exclusively not anything that was actually debatable. It's just like a girl with a pixie cut, a boy that has his hair in a ponytail, not even like an actual trans person situation. It's just like, I couldn't immediately see crew cut boy or bob girl. So who knows? Anyway, I couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman. And it told me, have a good one. Have a good one. I'm sorry. I thought it was America. I thought we could say, God bless, have a good day. So I said that, and they just looked at me and said, you too, sir. Oh, so we're afraid now. We're afraid to say anything that could upset the woke left's intolerance. And it's every one of those videos is exactly the same. It's almost exactly what I laid out there.
Correct.
Sometimes they add in like real problems that they think are existing. Like some people think the police shouldn't kill whoever they wanted to. Snowflakes. That's what the police do. It's like,
Correct.
what are you doing, man? How's this supposed to win anything? It's if you don't vote for my personal political candidate, it's just because you're not a man. And it's like, oh, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But
Yeah,
I
agree.
the background noise, or when they get like a semi-professional mic. Like I'm a huge fan of people who get lav mics,
And then hold them
but
like
then they hold them right up into their mouth like it's a Tootsie Roll pop, and they're just like, and they don't. It sounds like trash because they're talking into a mic that is an ambient pickup mic. If you're one of those people, this is my kind way of telling you, it doesn't go in front of your mouth. It goes below your mouth on your chest. It picks up ambient noise. It's not good for phone calls, just like how headphone mics aren't good for phone calls because it picks everything up. And then you sit there and you hear this nasty mic hiss because it's just like the whole time they're talking, you just the entire time because no one knows how to edit their videos because they record these real quick on their iPhone and post it.
It's because they're on break.
They're on break. They're on break at whatever clean job they work at. Because at least when the guys post angry videos and they're caked in like mud and sewage, I'm like, okay, at least you need the truck. I'll give you that. You need the truck.
I deeply love that I know exactly what you're talking about, having seen it.
Oh, it's impossible not to know.
Yeah.
It's all over the place. You literally can't avoid it. If you open Facebook ever, then you see it. And if you're just in circles that aren't like that on Twitter, then people joke about it. You can't avoid it. There's no way to avoid it.
I'm a huge fan. I saw an entire video where the guy was talking about how, like, the entire video was just him, like, very calmly talking into the mic about how anyone who holds the lav or the earbud microphone.
Oh yeah, where they hold it in that little like loop right in front of their face,
and
it just peaks the shit out of it.
Yeah, the essential take was anyone who does this, you're an idiot. Don't do that. That's literally just not how it works. Either get a professional
he was like
or don't.
borderline in tears at the end of the video, just like, please treat your equipment like you're supposed to.
Yeah. And then the follow up to this was that this man then had the audacity, like, loved the video, 100% on board the whole way through because as a sound professional, I'm a murder somebody. If I found out someone was holding a lav like in front of their face, like it's a microphone, I will commit a crime.
Another reason also, even if you think I'm just being stupid and pedantic, or Dan is being like stupid and pedantic, it makes your equipment last. You will blow your mic out if you talk into it too directly. That's the thing. You can be too loud for a microphone and break it. That's the thing about buying professional studio grade gear. Like when I bought my microphone, I was specifically looking for a mic that not only would be good for podcasting, which is very low impact. You don't need a lot for a podcasting mic.
You could do a podcast with a lav. People do.
Oh, tons of people do. And it sounds fine because you can clean up stuff like that and it's not really a problem. But I also needed it to record music. And if you're going to record music with a mic, you got to be more careful about like its dynamic range and like what it can do. So I got a mic that can go real loud if I want it to, and it works for me. But yeah, no, that's all I was going to say is don't do that. Anyway, Dan, the follow-up to that video, what was his follow-up?
The follow-up to this video is this man insisted that lavalier should be pronounced using its French pronunciation.
God, I hate when people do that.
And I just...
What's the way to say it in French?
It was lavalier or something like that.
I was about to say lavalier.
Yeah, lavalier. And I simply need... Listen. We, in whatever year this is, in current year,
We've moved past the need for the French.
We first of all,
No,
correct. No. Listen, we moved on for the need from the French, except for watching in admiration when they burn their country down in protest.
God, I love anytime there's protests. I like their separation of EMS personnel as well, because you got the firemen who are just like, nah, we hate cops too. Don't lump us in with them, and then they fight them by setting themselves on fire and fighting them.
God, that's badass.
God, it's so cool.
Fucking ridiculous. So yes, we've moved past the need for the French, except for admiring their opinions on guillotines. However, so not only have we moved on past the need for the French, we've also moved on past the need for pronouncing things like from their source language versus like I
there's some things that are important for, right? Like, some languages you still need.
Well,
go ahead. You first. This was your point to make. I'll derail it in a minute.
Just literally like if it is a word that is still in that language, like that is its primary use case. Like hors d'oeuvres. Hors d'oeuvres is a non-English word that we continue to pronounce with its non-English pronunciation. That's fine. Yeah. But if, as a society, we have agreed that instead a word is pronounced a different way, then it is simply pronounced that way because words are made up. And I understand that they're not, but they are. They are made up. And it's okay that they evolve and change. Language evolves and changes.
It's literally just a linguistics thing where eventually words get adopted and they turn wrong. Mm-hmm. Foyer is a big one for me. I hate that it's the foyer. It's called a foyer. It's pronounced foyer. It's a French word, but whatever.
In English, it's
not
foyer.
That important.
Exactly. No, it's low key. People who correct pronunciation based on it's a whatever word, it actually means this. You need to pronounce it properly.
There's a time and a place. There's some words that you do need to do that for.
I don't know that there are. I'll be honest with you. Listen. This is where I veer off from like the normal person take and move fully into like radical globalism.
We're into psycho mode. Okay.
Radical globalism. Tear down language barriers. There is no reason for us to worry about these sorts of things in 2020 year. It doesn't fucking matter. As long as the purpose of language is to get across an idea, and if the idea is gotten across with a incorrect pronunciation, then it doesn't fucking matter.
While I agree to a point, there's also a whole lot of "you're in America, speak English" that can stem from that kind of thinking.
And that's fair, and that is not at all what I am saying. I am simply saying...
that's what old Trucker Noah from like 10 minutes ago was saying.
Old Trucker... I do miss old Trucker Noah. I miss old Trucker Noah getting hit with a truck.
So true.
So yeah, I don't know. I've been learning another language for a while. You know, not great, whatever. I'm fine with it. I'm past a year on Duolingo. I know it's not like that big a deal, but it's fine, right? I understand. But like, it's different. That's different clearly than saying this word that is commonly used, like foyer. Foyer is a good example. Foyer is a French word. You're correct.
That's why I brought it up.
I know. Foyer is a French word. You're absolutely correct. However, it has been co-opted into English and is officially recognized as both foyer and foyer equally. Those are both correct pronunciations. So therefore, it doesn't fucking matter. If I'm learning Italian and I'm learning, hey, this word is pronounced this way, yes, pronounce it that way. That is the correct way to pronounce it.
Yeah, you're not going to go over to France and say, actually, we've adopted the word and it's foyer now. You're not going to do that. If you're in France, speaking French, you're going to say foyer.
Exactly.
It is similar to American English versus British English.
That's exactly where I was about to head with it. Yes, like exactly that same thing.
And honestly, I'm gonna be brave. I'm gonna say it. A lot of the extra U's that like British English have
that we got rid of,
they're better.
They are.
Armor with a U, way better than ARMOR. Boring word, terrible word. ARMOUR, that's classy.
I love it so much. I don't know. I don't want to give the Brits credit for anything. Much like the French, we've evolved past the need for the British.
I'll give them a little bit of credit. I feel like they are, on the whole, a little unfairly maligned on certain things.
That's a bold take. I don't know if you want to stand by that one.
No, I'll stand by that one.
Damn.
Current era England is a little unfairly maligned in some ways.
Damn. He said it.
Some people, it is their fault. But
Mostly,
most of the time
mostly the
that
royal
people,
family, to be honest.
no, not them. Like fuckos like Boris, like it's those guys' fault.
Yes. I wanted to do a whole bit about like what other countries have we evolved past the need for, but like really the French and the British are the two that I'm like comfortable saying. Everything else it feels like it's gonna get real uncomfy real quick.
Well, yeah, no, there's no. If you go into that bit, it literally is just, oh, let me do a racism. Like,
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
no, you don't actually gain anything
Exactly.
from that conversation.
There's no bonuses there.
We've talked about my feelings about the French cooking an awful lot on this channel.
Have we?
Yes.
I
No,
don't remember any of it.
that's one of my like hot button takes of I feel we've evolved past the need to glorify French cooking techniques.
Oh,
because
yeah,
while French
100%.
cooking techniques produce a high quality, consistent thing, I also am sick of fine dining culture because, you know, you'll end up having people like Gordon Ramsay, who very talented chef, better than I will ever be. Very understanding of that. I'm not stupid. I know that. But also, you'll end up having him like do his cooking shows where he's like, and we're going to do an elevated anything.
And you're tired of the word elevated
Implying,
thing.
well, no, because it implies during the judging process for his contestants, it implies that the base food from the country is not good.
I never got that implication.
Well, here's the thing, you know, it's a little bland, it's a little homey, it's a little blah 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 blah. When he's talking about like burritos is always the big one for me, and tacos, Mexican cuisine. Gordon's a huge fan of elevated Mexican, and he was used to do a lot of elevated Indian cuisine as well until they got like slapped around, I think, about it, where it's like, hey, there's a lot of Indian cuisine that's like, there's fine dining Indian, and then there's normal Indian, and then there's, you know, like, we have our own range over here. Stop making up an elevated version of it.
That's really funny.
Yeah, it's really annoying to see that kind of stuff happen. So that's probably where that is where most of my anti-French sentiments come from. And before, I know this is coming, before anyone tries to come at me and says, well, Noah, Mr. Big Italian Noah, Mr. A, I'm Italian here, Noah. The Italians do the same thing. I know. I'm in a group on Facebook called Italians Getting Mad at Food, and all they do is shit on food that is objectively fine because it's not exactly like what they would do. There will be people in the chat saying, oh, I made carbonara with bacon instead of guanciale, and they will wish death on them. They're like, you deserve to die. Don't fucking cook in this country again. Never come to Italy. I hope you die. And it's like,
sir,
people can't get, like, they've, over the years, they've calmed down a little bit. Last time they had the big carbonara debate, it finally ended with, as long as you don't put peas and cream in your carbonara, that's fine. Because once you do that, it's not carbonara anymore. It's something else. Never put cream in. You know, it's a whole thing. I really don't want to get into it. It's a terrible time to think about. No. I know Italians are like that too. We've moved past the need for gatekeeping food.
Well,
I feel like gatekeeping food is really shitty. But I understand certain things are gate kept in ways to maintain cultural, like, okay, I'm going to say cultural purity. It sounds really like, okay, but bear with me. To maintain cultural purity of different dishes and stuff so that they don't get diluted from other things coming in. Oh, no, you know, tomatoes actually weren't in Italy. Shut the fuck up. I know. It's not the point. Like, some things have been part of a dish long enough that it is what it is, you know? Like,
I understand where you're coming from. And
okay.
So this is kind of in the same vein as we've moved past the need for language, like for different language. I understand that I'm in a precarious position because you and I've actually talked about this. I think off mic. I don't know if we talked about it on mic before, about like the fact that it's difficult for me to set. It's hard for me to be like, yes, full globalism, one world culture. Like, it doesn't fucking matter because I am white and don't have really a culture of my own. Like, I just like my culture is.
I think we've talked about this on the podcast where I'm like, I am desperate to have a culture of my own. I really, really want one. And you're like, nah, not me. I have Reddit.
No, not even. It's just simply like, I don't know. I don't really see to me, as somebody who doesn't have it, and I understand that I'm coming from a place of privilege and like a little bit of like, fucking white people, but like I don't understand why there is a need for like maintaining the purity of a dish. Like the purity of the dish, if it's better another way, do it the other way. Who gives a shit?
But that's the thing is it's not better another way. It's different another way.
If it's different another
And
way, let them do
also,
it the other way.
is it better? Well, no, here's the thing is, firstly, when people do things a different way and they think it's easier / better, the argument is you can't call it this dish. It's not that dish anymore. Let me bring it into alcohol terms for you. Let's get on the same page.
Okay.
All right?
Okay. I think I do understand.
I have a coworker.
Yes.
I've mentioned him before on the podcast. I think I called him Frank or something like that.
Sure.
He's the guy that got really, really high off of that hot chocolate by
Yes,
accident.
I remember this.
Fun, by the way, for greater elaboration on that story, 8 months out, it was not dosed when it was offered to him. It was dosed later, and he was just never told.
Oof.
So he did. So it wasn't
That's rough, actually.
a sneak attack. Right? He was not doing well from that one. But he is recently getting into bourbons and stuff, and he's got this this new idea that he's been getting into. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called an old fashioned.
Yes, I have heard of an old fashioned once or twice.
Mm-hmm. So, Dan, for the class, what's in an old fashioned?
Bitters,
Okay.
and orange, and I think
Okay.
sugar and water.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
The water is an optional element. You know, you water it down a little bit if you want like that a little bit, or you can be. Oh wait, let me get the coffee cup back up. A real man who only drinks straight bourbon. You know,
Like
you can do either one, but it's an orange peel or a cherry or both, depending on how fancy you're feeling. I'm a cherry guy personally.
I was gonna say I'm a cherry guy as well.
Do you have those Luxardo cherries? Do you ever use those?
I don't have the fancy cherries. I get the shitty like poor people cherries.
Since I drink so little, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to treat myself to this $20 jar of cherries. And I consume them so slowly that they're always a special occasion and a surprise when I have them.
I honestly love that for you.
But anyway, I tell them, here, if you want to try getting into stuff, here's some decent cheap bourbons, or maybe just he knew that off because, you know, we work at the same place. I don't remember that part. But I had told him about how I was getting into old fashions. He tried old fashions and realized it really worked for him. He really enjoyed it.
Yeah, totally fair.
As time has gone on, now, a history lesson on old fashioned. The reason it's called an old fashioned is because it's not made with sugar syrup. It is made with sugar. You're supposed to take a sugar cube, hit it with 2 or 3 shots of bitters to saturate it. You mix everything together. It is a served warm drink traditionally.
Okay.
Old fashioned refers to the initial switch over from using lump sugar in drinks to using sugar syrups.
Okay.
You know? So usually you just make it in a glass. You make it in the glass. You can make it in a shaker, I guess, but you're not really chilling it.
Yeah, so why bother?
It depends on what you're really after, you know? But as time has gone on, my coworker has added a lot of things to his old fashioned because he likes them. He adds an egg white because he likes the mouthfeel of an egg white in his cocktail. He has added like extra pizzazz and things to try different things. He's experimenting. That's cool. But we're at a point, is this an old fashioned anymore? And by the rules of an old fashioned, it's not as soon as he added anything outside of bourbon, bitters, sugar, you know, and garnish. But he's been calling it that.
Here's the thing, Noah. I think you thought this was going to get me on your side, and instead it has driven me ever further away.
It's not a fucking old fashioned, Dan.
It's kind of still an old fashioned. It's just an
It's
old fashioned
literally
with extra
not
shit.
an old. No, it's not an old fashioned anymore. It's a different cocktail.
Okay.
You move far enough away from a
this
base
is in
dish.
the same vein.
This is not. This is not the same as the Pop-Tart ravioli.
No.
thing.
I was gonna say a margarita, because people say I've heard people refer to them as vodka margaritas before, when it is literally just swap the tequila for vodka, and I think that is like it's one of those. If you handed me a margarita and it had vodka instead of tequila, would I be upset? Yeah, kind of. I'm like, this isn't what I asked for. But like calling it an old fashioned with egg white, it's still an old fashioned. Like, or calling it a vodka margarita, it is a vodka margarita. It is a qualifier added on to margarita, which I guess to your point of like, it is technically a different cocktail, but you still have a pretty good idea. Like, You're still getting the salted, or you're still getting the salt on the rim. You're still getting the triple sec lime juice. It's just you're changing out the core alcohol content. And I don't think you wouldn't call that like you would still call it a margarita. You wouldn't call it like a different name because no one would know what the fuck you're talking about.
No one would order an old fashioned with an egg white in it.
Apparently somebody would.
Yeah, the guy that didn't know that that's how you make a different drink. That's a whiskey sour. Whiskey sours have the egg white in them.
The classic whiskey sour does not have an egg white in it.
Yes, it does.
The fuck are you on?
What are you on? It is a very classic addition to a whiskey sour.
Wild. I've quite literally never had it with...
Really?
Yeah.
The very first time I ever looked up how to make a whiskey sour, it had the ingredient...
optionally a dash of egg white. Wild.
Yeah.
I've never
you
had
put it in. It adds a velvetyness to it. It makes it froth up. You can do like a decoration on the top because of it.
Fun.
Yeah, it's neat. But it is not an addition. Once you add anything to an old fashioned, it's not an old fashioned anymore. An old fashioned is very specifically different things. Like it's a 3-ingredient cocktail, and one of those ingredients is bitters, which is barely an ingredient.
I don't know, man. I put like a dash of Sprite into my vodka cranberries, and I still call it a vodka cranberry.
But that's still very much within the range of a vodka cranberry.
But that's only a 2-ingredient thing.
Yes, but there's like, if I ask for a vodka cran,
I think the key,
and
I may.
Go ahead.
I think the key is a qualifier. I think you need the extra adjective in there. I think you can call it an old fashioned, but you have to say like an old fashioned with whatever, or an old fashioned but whatever. Like I think calling it just a plain old fashioned is a little difficult because I do think that you are kind of falsely advertising it. And like if I was serving a drink and I had an old fashioned, I threw an egg white in it, like that wouldn't be right. But if I said, oh, this is a Daniel's old fashioned or whatever the fuck is the name of my bar, like, and serve it and make it clear that that is part of the drink, then I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I think the key is a qualifier. I think the problem is a like I just call it a vodka Sprite cranberry, even though it is essentially.
Let me bring this back to food because I think I have a much higher ground to stand on the food element.
No, that's fair. I think it's all the same, and I think it's very fun to have this conversation.
I think the issue with saying that it's all the same with cultural foods versus like drinks, where I thought that I was going to be able to like bring it down, but like I get where you're coming from. With cultural foods, that is just colonialism saying it doesn't matter, saying it doesn't matter to call this when it's objectively not the same thing.
I think it's
because it is wiping out culture.
Well, and that's where I get uncomfortable about it, because on one hand, like it is colonialism on some level. Like as a white person, like it is colonialism.
As an any person, this is not a white person problem.
But
the white people are the people that argue so staunchly to be allowed to do it.
Correct, and I think that's the thing. Is in my mind, it is less about like, again, it is something as somebody who doesn't have a culture that I identify with, and I understand. I understand that, like, and I am really truly like, this is one of those things where I want people to talk to me about it because I want to understand it better. I want to kind of I want to be able to like appreciate this as well as like evolve my opinions. This is an open invitation to the audience. But as somebody who doesn't really have a culture of their own, I don't understand the desire to not globalize it all.
Okay,
to me,
but like, as someone who is looking for one and tells you maybe let people keep their like what they are, how they are, and allow them to protect that as it is, without saying you can't riff on it, you just aren't allowed to call it the traditional thing. But then you're like, no, actually, I think I shall.
I think that maybe this is the same thing of like, I think that if you call it like, if you tell me it's a traditional, I feel like the one that I want to go for is like Chinese food, because I feel like American Chinese food is just, it's just not like, it's not.
American Chinese food is a genre of itself now.
Exactly. So like calling it a like if you were like, oh, this is a classic or a traditional, I don't know, orange chicken.
General So,
exactly. Like you're lying, first of all, but like because there isn't a basis on that as far as I know. Asterisk. But like I think that iterating on it and being like, this is my take on a blank is good and cool and a way to experiment with flavors and ideas and styles that you may not have otherwise.
That's fine. You can do that. But then there's people who are putting these out as recipes, who are saying this is how you make the thing.
And I think that's
and
the
they're
problem.
using the same name.
I think
there's
that's the
a
problem.
very
That's
specific Gordon Ramsay video I'm thinking of where he makes he was making, I don't remember the food now, but he was in Puerto Rico making Puerto Rican food. My father-in-law found this hilarious. There's some gaming YouTube kid who happened to do a reaction video to Gordon Ramsay that my father-in-law found, sent it to us. Hilarious. Because Gordon misses a lot of stuff. But one thing Gordon did was he put cilantro in his Puerto Rican dish.
Cilantro doesn't go in Puerto Rican dishes?
No, it does not. But you didn't know that, did you?
No.
And that's okay that you didn't know that. I assume that you figured it out because I brought it up as a gotcha.
As a gotcha. Yeah.
But like, it's fine. You don't need to know that. However, if you're going to be cooking and you're going to be making statements about things, but you don't know that like that's a core not there ingredient. Like there's another type of, it's like kind of like a subset that's cilantro-esque that like Puerto Ricans sometimes use, but it is not one of the things that they use. It is simply not there. I don't remember what Nina was telling me. There's just like a bunch of stuff that like boils down like the differences like between the different like Hispanic, South America and island cultural foods that even though they're kind of big broad strokes kind of the same, it's kind of like how Puerto Ricans eat a lot of pork. There's pigs on the island, they eat pigs, a bunch of different pork dishes.
Yeah.
Whereas you don't see as much pork in like Mexico, for example.
Yeah.
You see more beef dishes there, more things like that because they had more different animals on hand, different like cheese. Cheese is not as usual in Puerto Rican dishes, but it is a lot more common in Mexican dishes.
Yeah.
You know, things like that. Once again, probably the cow angle, you see, because they have more of them. But, you know, stuff like that, that's why I think it's, like, important and cool to gatekeep certain terms around food so that you actually can, like, define what certain things are. Yes, Pop-Tart is a ravioli is a fun argument that we have every now and then. But that's, like...
There's a joke, like, the joke.
That's
a
joke.
Argument. Yeah,
it's like,
it's clearly
okay,
a joke.
very funny. You
gotcha.
If I handed Dan a ravioli covered in meat sauce and said, "Here's your Pop-Tart, Dan,"
I would laugh, first of all.
He would laugh, and he'd be like, "Oh, you got me." But like,
I did
that's
want
a joke,
Pop-Tart.
And that's it.
Yeah,
exactly. If he asks us,
as much as I do truly believe it 100% in my heart,
that I would do that if I could.
No, that a Pop-Tart is a ravioli. It is also I understand that there are like separations for the terms for a reason. I get that.
And one of the main things for cuisine and stuff is there are dishes that are lost because people adapt them and they just go. Some of it is because people didn't think about it. You know, like people come over to America and it's the big pot of melting people and everything happened and we get a bunch of new dishes out of it. You know, that's the American experience, blah, blah, blah. But when they came over, no one was thinking about preserving their cultural identity. They wanted to get rid of that because they wanted to assimilate and not be thought of as weird,
American,
not have racism happen against them because they were too whatever. And because of that, a lot of cultural stuff is lost. You have a lot of people who don't have a way to do things and or like don't have the family connections that they like would like to have. So a lot of people, especially more recently, are starting to fall back on food. It's a way to get touched like back with your culture. Unfortunately, like China's a great example of this. There are so many, it's just like Italy where there are sub-provinces where
like 90 bajillion
food
it's ridiculous.
Is such a specific thing there. And it's not the same over there. It's just like how Italy has 700 different things. And I'm sure France has that too.
Not for nothing, like low key, the US does have quite a few as well. Like,
oh yeah, no, but my thought was more, I mean, like the barbecue wars.
Yeah,
you know,
that's exactly what I was gonna say.
There's 7 different types of barbecue in the States. Every one of them is sure that they're the best.
Yes.
And definitive barbecue. The only thing everyone agrees on is that none of the northern states can do it.
That is, which is very funny.
And it's frustratingly mostly true.
Yes,
you know?
correct.
I wish. And well, you know why? This ties my whole point together. Holy shit. What a wonderful moment.
Got it. Oh my God, he's got it.
Well, here's the thing. Because people will bring it up here, but they think, oh, the people in the South are stupid and don't know what they're doing. I can do it better. They change systems that are set in place for a reason. When they bring it up here to try and do something easier, make it like, because there are certain places in town that make really good barbecue.
Oh yeah, of course. I
You
have
know?
barbecue actually sitting in front of me. I have pulled pork right in front of me.
Yeah.
That's what I've been
Like,
smelling it the entire episode, and it is a struggle.
congratulations. Because there's places that can do it right, but the places that do it right do it like they do where people do it right. They don't do it, the Bronx way of making barbecue. No, they don't do it like that. They do it like they do it down south, with as much of that stuff carried over as possible, because that's the way it works. That's how it works. That's the way it actually tastes good, you know?
Or at least tastes, because and that's like my hesitation, is that like at least tastes authentic. Like it will taste good, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, like, I've had good northern barbecue. Like I have. Obviously, like, I agree with you.
Many
but, like,
people have.
Exactly.
I literally just said there's like 2 in town that are like really good.
But that's what I'm agreeing with you, is that like I think that the I think it may be the hard. So I have two thoughts. First of all, I think that
Okay.
like barbecue is a good one, because like barbecue does have so much, even just within the states, that I do have direct interaction with. But I don't think, like, I wouldn't go and say if you use a, I don't know, gold barbecue sauce, it's not real barbecue. I wouldn't.
Well,
go
that's
and
not
say,
what I'm talking about, though. It's like,
but like, but I think I hope that my point is coming across, that like it is still the thing. It is a iteration on the thing. It is a different version of the thing, and I think that maybe needs to be clearer when we're talking about this sort of like food separation between like current and past and region. Is that like, I think that it maybe it's simply a finding better ways to name foods, or better ways to separate them in a way that like makes sense to people as a whole. In an ideal world.
I guess, because like if you make ribs in the, oh shoot, Nina's home. Hello.
Hi, Nina.
Hello. Were you animatedly arguing?
We're recording.
Hi, Nina.
Hi, guys.
Dan says hi. No,
Damn. All right.
sorry.
I already
Got him.
Nice.
I don't know what
Anyway.
you said no to, but you got her.
No mail.
Ah, damn. Curses spoiled again.
But you know, like if you make ribs in the oven
Mm-hmm.
and you call them barbecue ribs because you put barbecue sauce on them, that's not true. You did not make barbecue ribs. You made ribs with barbecue sauce. And I think more people are moving away from terms like that, because a lot of this happened during like a lot of the simplifying and making more plain and frankly not good of so many dishes happened like in the last like 60, 70 years, you know? It's called the Great Depression, probably actually had a lot to do with that.
If I had to guess. Yeah, the simplification and making it easier to get at, easier to obtain ingredients with like what you have on hand. Yeah, that sounds about right.
So, you know, you have parents who are making a dish that is supposed to have more, and they're calling it a certain thing, and their kids don't know another way. Then they find out years down the line that, hey, actually, did you know that barbecue ribs are a terrible example, because no one in the Depression's making barbecue ribs. But, you know, like, did you know barbecue ribs aren't supposed to get wrapped in foil in the oven? They're supposed to actually get, like, smoked, and, like, you're supposed to add more barbecue sauce to them, blah, 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 blah. You know, you're not supposed to steam those in the oven, you know? But people don't know because they're not exposed to it, so they don't know any better. But that's why I am a fan and a full proponent of, yeah, get a little defensive about your cuisine, because that way it actually maintains what it is so that it can stand up to people riffing on it. Because you can riff on it. That's fine.
And I think, I think that, God, barbecue ribs are such an interesting example, because I am firmly in two minds on it. Like, I am firmly on one hand, I'm like, no, those are barbecue ribs, even if you make them in the oven, it's fine. And on the other hand, I'm like, but it is very clearly not smoked like barbecue ribs. Like, it is not, those are not the same food. And I'm very torn on it. I'm gonna need some time to like mull this over, because I
want everyone to know that today, the 13th of February, 2023, is the first time I've made Dan even concede half a point in a legitimate way. Even if we're just containing it to the podcast, I think this is the first actual, like, I'm taking this as a win. Because you see the point I'm making, and you're willing to think on it.
Yeah, hey, hold on. I'm always willing to think on it, unless it's for
Oh, you're always willing to think on it, but this is the only time that we've had, like, a lively debate about why or why not to do something.
Yeah.
Because for the most part, these come off as okay, Noah's talking about food again, you know? I wish you would shut up about lasagna so that I can get back to talking about, what do you talk about?
Star Wars.
I have plenty of shit that I could have, like...
Star Wars was the easy one.
Star Wars was an easy one, but we haven't talked about it in so long.
Yeah,
I literally was about to say, your Overwatch waifu as just like the next riff line. I'm like, that makes no sense.
Dan actively
Dan doesn't
tried to
even play Overwatch.
Yeah. I was gonna say also, I do wonder if maybe I think that this is like also an interesting conversation because like now in the year 20 whatever, it's so much easier to maintain those older recipes. You know what I mean? Like it's like
Oh, it's a much more concerted effort right now. People are taking it very seriously, trying to retain their culture again and bring things back to the way they were supposed to be. Or quote unquote supposed to be.
well, and then I'm like, then my brain goes to like, okay, this is how it was supposed to be in, you know, 1873 or whatever the fuck, right? But
Mhm.
like obviously your culture evolved up to that point. So like why is that the snapshot point, if that makes sense?
Well, that's the thing is like there's modern blank and then there's traditional blank.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're telling me that because there's certain dishes that like you hit a dish and you stop.
Yeah.
Carbonara is a great one because if you put chicken and peas and cream in your carbonara, that's not a carbonara anymore. It's still a good pasta dish, but it's not a carbonara anymore.
Yeah.
It does like the cuisines still grow, the cuisines still change, but there's like specific dishes. So like when people are trying to get re in touch with who they are at their roots on a food front and they're making traditional this, that, or the other thing, they just picked a recipe that they like already that they want to make quote unquote the right way. That's not to say that like there's not other more modern food that they could get into. It's just that that's what they want to get into more specifically.
Interesting. I do find it very interesting. Like this whole idea is so fascinating because like in the era of the internet, like if I want to go find a way to make a thing that has a thing or doesn't have a thing, I can find anything. You know, like you can find a version of whatever for whatever, and I find it really interesting to find like the idea of a this is the specific right way to make a thing.
I think the issue that you're hitting is that you're skating around terms by saying this is the right way to make a thing. There is a right way to make things, and there's wrong ways to make things. A thing that I really love is that comic that goes around on Facebook every now and then when people are trying to like, oh, sometimes it's just an issue in not seeing things from the other person's perspective. And it's two people pointing at a number on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And one guy's like, this is a 6. And the other guy's like, no, this is a 9. But there's a right way to read it. It was set up a certain way by somebody. There is a correct way to do things. And that's, I think, lost a lot of the time with like trying to, because not meant as a dig against our conversation, but like you're kind of simplifying down the argument of there's, you know, saying that there's a right way to do thing or other thing. And it's like, well, there are though, you know, like certain things are done certain ways. Carbonara is made with its minimal ingredients. A Manhattan is made with its minimal ingredients. That's what it is. It's a specific thing. And like, because I mean, like if we're being technical, if you're making a bourbon or if you're making Manhattan with a bourbon that isn't a rye, you're not making a Manhattan, you know?
But like, man, and that's I think where I keep getting caught up is the idea of there being a right way to make a thing, a single like anything I am talking like actually literally anything. The idea of there being a single right way to make a thing is insane to me.
I can't imagine not having there be a specific right way to make
there are
because
right
not
ways.
everything. Not everything.
No, obviously not everything.
And I'm a specific way because there's a lot of things that you can like riff with.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth
around.
by any stretch. Like I want to be clear. I'm not.
I think computer stuff is a great example. Like in the world of technology, there's a lot of ways to fail into the right answer.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. And I think
there's technically a right way to make stuff happen, but if you talk to a programmer, you know that there's no one right way to write code.
Yeah.
The amount of superstition in programming circles is insane.
And I think that actually that is a really good way to swing it because I think that that's where my mind keeps going. In my brain, like a recipe is you kind of extrapolating the metaphor. A recipe is a chunk of code. Is a this is how this code is done. And I can look at that recipe and I can get the same result a different way. Is it the same thing? And your argument is no, and mine is simply absolutely. The end result. Yeah. And I think that is so fascinating to me.
I think that this is our first convergence point in the argument because I think that you are correct in that is how our arguments are coming up here. And I think that's the issue is that like for certain things in life, yeah, there are two ways to do something, but like when it comes down to it, there's only like one way to break an egg. You hit it against something and it cracks open. You know, like
whether that
you got to break the shell first.
Yeah. Well, and that's man. You know, ironically, not to like fully derail. I know we're getting on towards time, so I'm not to like fully derail. But ironically, my therapist and I had a conversation about this recently about I'm very much a destination oriented person. The journey doesn't fucking matter as long as you get to the right answer. That has been the way I have been since I was a child, and hating to do like you remember like you had to do proofs or whatever for math or whatever. And
Yeah,
I
make
was
sure
all-
that you actually did your whole problem rather than just like guess or make it up or do it in your head, God forbid.
Well, and
so
that's
that
the thing.
everyone knew that the steps were there so you knew how to do it
And I
properly.
hated those because in my mind, it doesn't fucking matter as long as I got the right answer. Like it shouldn't matter how I got there. I could do 1,700 different ways. It doesn't matter as long as the answer is correct. And I think that's it's very funny to me that this is like a not just a mindset about like my life goals, this is a like, oh hey, I actually am this way about everything. And like I think that maybe that is also like that realization is kind of like, oh shit, because I think that's it. I think it's simply I am end result oriented. If the end result is the same or close enough, I guess it
Because I
doesn't
think to bring in a new food metaphor,
Yeah.
which I know that you won't, I know you're not about to not agree with me, which is fine. I'm bringing it up for other people, but because it hit me. Like for code, you were talking about like there's the right way is the most efficient way, but for cooking, that's not even always a thing.
No,
you know,
not
like
at all.
the most efficient. Oh, thank God.
No, absolutely. Like I think barbecue ribs is like actually like a perfect example of that. Like the most efficient way to make a barbecue rib is like probably in the oven or whatever.
I was gonna say you pop it in an Instapot and it's tender because it's been pressure cooked and it's done.
But it might even taste good. It might be great.
Oh,
but
I mean, no, it will taste good.
But it is
But
not.
it's not the best way to get to the best way to do it. Even in an oven, you can still do it. You cook it low and slow for way too long, and you keep slathering on sauce so that it bakes on there, and you get a crust,
Yeah, and oh god, this is
a shellac, if you will.
No, I can't believe we've hit a breakthrough.
This is honestly insane.
I can't believe
This
we
is it,
finally
guys.
got
This is the
there.
end of the podcast. We're never doing another one again. It will never get up from here.
This is the high point.
We've peaked.
And in my like because I agree with you, the most efficient way isn't always the right way. And honestly, even in code, the most efficient way isn't always the right way. The most efficient way could be prone to bugs that wouldn't
I
appear.
was gonna say sometimes you need that specificity that takes longer to make sure it doesn't do something else.
Exactly. And I think that like then it becomes a thing of like and then that's a whole fucking different conversation that we do not have time for. The idea of like air quotes the traditional way or the good enough that nobody can notice.
Well, no, because we've talked about this before. Like because I'm like, Dan, did you know that certain ways that you cook things are actually done that way on purpose? When I accidentally cooked my celery, onions, and carrots, like for a really stupid long time, really low and slow, and they just brought a big punch of flavor into what I was making because I accidentally cooked them like that.
Yeah.
Like that was the best way I've ever had that dish. I have not hit that again without doing exactly that. You know?
So interesting to me. This is good. Noah, I'm glad that we got to talk about food again.
Me too. I'm glad we didn't talk about Dead Space again because I'm on my second week in a row of that one. And I feel
I still can't play it. And I won't lie to you. It does bother me a lot. It's not your fault. It just simply is unfortunate and upsetting.
Very upsetting. Has AMD put out a driver for it yet?
Let's see. Here, we're gonna check live on air.
Because I know that you have better computer elements than me, but I also know that the new Dead Space is made for a much higher end system than I have. So like I know that's got it's got plenty of issues for me, and I can't stream it because even if I'm on a Discord call, the game will not load. Not properly, at least. It'll be very buggy.
Let's see. AMD software. Let's see. All right, AMD, what do you got for me? You got an update? You got a little update, Reno? You do not. Fuck you. There will be no further updates. I can't believe they just said it. They said it out loud. They didn't. I'm lying. Very sad. Eventually an update will come out. Or I will upgrade my computer and I will finally play it. I have
one of those things. Yep.
Listen, I bought the heart monitor. I got all the lighting set up properly.
It's gonna happen.
It's
just gonna take a little longer than you wanted it to.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it with something else. I'm probably gonna do another spooky game and do it that way.
Oh, you know what game you should play? Fear. That game runs on dog shit. It's ancient.
Well, and that's the other problem is that like it has nothing to do with like the quality of my computer. It is everything to do with simply this specific card doesn't support this specific game.
Yeah.
And that I think is the most frustrating part to me. Is that like there is quite literally nothing I can do because it is just the card. And again, it's not even a bad card. It's only a couple years old. It's really not that bad.
No, I would be devastated. I very much am with you on that.
Very sad. Yeah, no more. I was gonna say something and it's gone now. Hold on, I'll come back. Nope, it's gone. I don't remember.
Wow. Okay.
Listen, man, I still am coming out of being. Oh, we had COVID. Do we want to talk about how bad COVID is again?
COVID fucking sucks, man.
COVID sucks
I don't know
so
if I'm on my
bad.
4th or my 5th run, but it sucks. I was talking to Nina about this, and I think I tweeted about it too, where it's like, I know it doesn't reflect on me as a person the number of times I've had COVID, but I feel like it does, you know?
Yeah, no, I won't lie to you. It doesn't, like, having to be like, oh yeah, this is my 4th time having COVID. That doesn't feel good.
Right? Even though I know it had nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
I just got it because I
Yeah.
work in a like customer facing retail job.
And people are terrible and gross.
Yeah. We have a lot of like dirty customers. Someone came in sick and did not mask up. It is what it is, you know?
Yeah.
But man, it's annoying. And this time I've lost my sense of smell again. I haven't done that since the first time.
Michelle lost hers too.
Let me crack open my bottle of Dayquil here and see if I can smell it, because I still didn't have it back earlier today. I'm half back. I can smell that it's Dayquil.
It sure is a Dayquil of a time.
I mean, like, I was testing my, like, sense of taste and smell. I ate, like, some peppercorns just to be like, this is a strong taste. I can't smell them, but if I can taste them, I'm at least halfway there. Could not taste them.
Yikes.
My taste came back after, like, 2 days-ish, but, you know, I didn't even lose either of them until I was on my 2nd day of it.
That's so
Third
rough.
day of it. Yeah. I took a day off work and I came back the next day and I'm like, I feel great now. Took the day off yesterday, but I'm back. I'm fine. We dropped a bottle of tequila, like shit tequila. You know what tortilla is?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. You know how that stuff smells.
Uh-huh.
Tortilla clear smells like, ugh. And it
Couldn't
was
smell
dropped
anything.
and I'm like, oh no. And my coworker's like, what? And I back up like 5 feet and I'm like, I can't smell that. And he's like, are you kidding me? And I'm like, does it smell less bad than usual? He's like, no, it smells awful. So I go down and I wipe it up with like some paper towels because it was a whole bottle.
Yeah.
I shove them right in my face and I'm like, oh, dude, this is terrible. I can't
It's a
smell
bad
this at
time.
all.
Oh. Yeah. Mine. I was laid up for a few days, but I'm doing better now. I'm alive.
I have taken the last 2 days, I took a nice little walk around the block. And it was really nice. You know, I put on some music and I just took a big long walk. And it's, you know, it's not great. It's not ideal, but it at least worked.
Yeah.
I've been getting out. I'm like super low energy though. I'm one of the things I've noticed since standing to do this podcast. You guys forgot about that, didn't you? I've been standing this whole time. For
I've
an
not
hour
forgotten.
now.
I've seen you the whole time.
I don't give a shit about you. You knew.
Wow.
Other people aren't seeing me.
Uncool.
But you know, like I'm like short of breath. I hate this. And I'm going to have to go to work and be masked up because the CDC says you only need 5 days off, which frustratingly lined up with the time I was supposed to be in Philly. So I already had the time requested off.
Oof.
I only lost 2 days of work.
Ugh.
Yeah, you know, that sucks the most, is having vacation planned that COVID ruined, but I still have
Yeah.
my days off burned.
Yeah.
I already used
that's-
all my goodwill on those.
Yeah, that's exactly the problem.
So yeah, I go back tomorrow and I'm going to be super low energy because it's hard to breathe through a mask.
Yeah,
So I'm going to
'cause-
be like short of breath all day for the next like 3 weeks.
Suffer and perish. And by that I mean I'm glad that you didn't do either of those.
Right? Me too.
No,
And because luckily Nina isn't sick, I'm sleeping on the couch
let's go.
because I physically can sleep on the couch better than she can.
Bruh. Oh my god, that was the thing. We made it a solid like 4 days into me having COVID and like trying to be safe, but definitely not like taking all the precautions we could have. And Michelle
Yeah.
was feeling fine. And then on like the 5th day, she's like, oh shit, I have a sore throat.
That sucks.
We were so close to making it out the other side.
Yeah, anytime Nina comes into my room, I put a mask on. We've maintained like decent distance the whole time. We don't cook in the same room at the same time. Like we take our turns in different rooms.
That's so sad.
Yeah, it does. It does suck a lot.
That sucks
Because
a
of
lot.
having COVID this many times, I have missed out on 10 weeks with my wife that I would like the government to compensate me for.
Yes, as they should.
Especially because they're the reason I keep getting COVID. Is that true? I don't care. I'm going to blame them anyway. I
Thanks,
finally am
Biden.
set up for my fucking booster, though. I keep getting like
Hey.
distracted on. It's one of those things where like I think about it because I'm sick and I'm like, Man,
yeah, I
I
should
never
really do
remembered
that.
to set that up. But then, I'll stop having COVID and I'm like, well, I need to give it some time anyway. But this time, the day I got my positive test back, I'm like, I'm not playing this game.
Not
We're getting our
again?
boosters. So, they're set up and the flu shot to boot because it's right there. And I'm like, all right, let's
Oh, no, don't do them at the same time, Noah. That's such a
do it
bad
at the
idea.
same time, man. I got nothing else I can do.
I know. Listen, I know, but I'm telling you right now, it sucks so bad.
Oh, I know.
Oh, you're going to be... Don't make any plans for that day.
That day I have no plans for. The next day I'm going back to work.
You'll probably be fine by the next morning.
I will find out.
All right, Noah, all the best. How are we doing on time?
We can go a few more minutes. We just crossed an hour.
Some people have things to do on a Monday night.
Some people have shut their mouthitis. Fine, we'll cut this down to a 50-something minute episode.
He got me. He got me. Ladies and gentlemen, he got me.
Oh, no, I have a movie to talk about, actually.
What movie? What do you got?
I watched Elvis.
Oh, how
Did
was
you watch
that?
Elvis? Dude, it's really good. It's like a gorgeous movie. Do you know much of like Baz Luhrmann's work? It's really fun. It's accurate in the parts it needs to be, and not in other parts that it doesn't need to be. Like it exaggerates a lot. I mean, it's fucking Baz, It's what the guy does.
Exactly, yeah. I don't know what all I've seen of his, actually.
He did the Great Gatsby one recently.
I did not see that, because I'm going to say that Great Gatsby isn't that good.
Oh, no. You're correct. You're correct.
Mid, and I'm not going to go watch a movie that I know is going to be kind of mid.
I have heard people say, and by people I mean Nina, says it's not her favorite version of Gatsby.
Well, yeah, it has Leo, which, you get...
God, he just gets worse by the year, doesn't he?
Dude, it really, truly, genuinely, like, I feel like I like him less in every movie I see him in.
Well, I mean, he's phoning it in for a lot of shit now.
I was gonna say, that's what I'm saying, not just like him as a person, but like his acting. I like less in every movie I see.
Yeah, it's but Elvis was a lot of fun. Austin Butler killed it as Elvis.
Austin Butler
Tom Hanks
looked
weird ass opinion to do what he did, but hey, more power to him.
What did he do?
That weird accent that he pulled was not actually like the guy's real life accent was.
Oh no.
But it worked for me. It was fun. It's a goofy movie. You watch the whole thing.
Elvis is kind of a goofy guy, I'm gonna be honest.
I had no interest because I don't like Elvis. I'm not a huge Elvis guy. I know you're probably shocked to hear that, but
I mean, I'm not that shocked actually.
I know it was a joke.
Okay.
But I'm just not an Elvis guy. I don't really care. But also, I didn't know anything about Elvis either. I just know that he's one of those like unescapable figures. And as it turns out, there's a lot of cool just information about the guy. I had no idea that he's like the top solo artist of all time.
Yes. Yeah, no, Elvis like was a really fascinating individual. And that was what I was gonna say. So I was gonna say, Austin Butler, like the little bit that I did see of it, that man, like identical. Like eerily, like
yeah, he managed to like the looks they did. And one thing that I liked
eerily,
they really didn't play too much with Fat Elvis.
I'm glad.
I think the only bit of Fat Elvis we got was maybe even actual archive footage. I'm not actually sure. Either that or because there were a lot of stylized footage shots in the movie too, where it's like, fun. Is that Elvis or is that Austin Butler just like in a good moment there?
That's fun.
Yeah, no, it really, really worked for me. And it was just like a real quick thing at the end. Like there's a news head talking about it at one point. But like when we see him, he still is just like looks exactly the same as he did before. And then there's like a final shot. And that worked for me. I enjoyed that. It all kind of like, I don't know, treated him respectfully enough while also like putting it all out there.
Yeah, exactly. Like it would be almost a disservice to just like ignore you know what I mean?
Yeah. They built up some fake conflict, which was always, that's always fun.
Have to, yeah.
But, it's as far as like rock star biopics have been recently, it's way better than Bohemian Rhapsody.
It has nothing on Weird Al.
Oh, not at all, of course. The most accurate one to date. I've heard that Rocket Man was a lot of fun.
I heard Rocket Man was really good, actually, yeah.
But, I don't know. I saw Bohemian Rhapsody. I don't really care about Queen. The movie was fine, but it was really, really middling. And I didn't realize how middling it was until seeing this movie and realizing what they could have done.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, very much I don't know. Noah, would you say that there's a right way to make a rock biopic?
Yeah, I would. And it's to give the reins to a guy that routinely exaggerates every single thing he's ever touched in his life.
To be fair, there is a certain amount of like you kind of like
You gotta caricaturize it.
Well, because rock stars are larger than life, right? Like that's
Yeah.
literally their like that's it, right? Like they are, and so trying to do like a very like unless the entire point is we are going to humanize this person and make him very down to earth, which could be done. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I'm sure it could be done.
They try with everyone.
They try with everyone, but like just let him be like let it be kind of an insane situation.
Yeah. I was one thing that I liked also in the movie is every time he pulls out a new song, it flashed back to him like seeing a black artist perform it at like some
That's
club.
pretty great.
And it's like it never explicitly said, yeah, Elvis stole all his music.
That's pretty great,
like,
though.
It is a very important thing to note. Very few bands wrote all their music back then. Zeppelin stole almost all. It was their first album or two were like almost all covers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it was a thing that bands did. There was not a lot of original music being made.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. It is what it is. It's a thing of the times. But people don't know that now because there's a lot of focus being put on make your own music.
Yeah.
So it was really nice seeing the movie like actually showcase that he's not the guy that came up with most of this music.
That is actually, I really like that a lot. I need to watch more movies. I just don't have the time for it anymore. Or more accurately, the attention span.
You should commit to watching Tar because I'm going to watch Tar so we can talk about it.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know that I want to watch Tar.
All right.
I don't know what it's about. I have not heard that name at all.
Really?
Yeah.
God.
Sorry, buddy.
It's one of the I think it was up for an award.
Yeah,
I think it's like one of them.
One best actress at the Golden Globes. There we go. I got there.
I think it was up for Best Picture too.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was one of the 7 Best Picture nominees.
Damn. Well,
maybe I'm wrong, but it was definitely at the very least it was nominated. So anyway, I don't know. We'll watch something. We'll try and pick something to watch together to hold each other accountable to watch a neat new thing.
God, I don't want. I'm already held accountable in one shot. I don't need another one. Now that I'm no longer COVID ridden, I need to get back on the shit stain train.
Hell yeah, you do, brother. Yeehaw. Truck guy voice, and that's why we need to get away from this goddamn podcast and get back to our real lives so we can experience what the Lord gave us in our everyday.
Man, I can't believe we got by a Jesus commercial in the fucking
Fuck that!
in the fucking Super Bowl.
It's the only thing I'm going to talk about with this goddamn Super Bowl because it was a really good game till the last few minutes, but those 2 Jesus commercials,
I couldn't.
the first one was bad. The last one was atrocious. Fucking fascist propaganda.
Yeah,
Get
that
that
was rough.
shit out of my face. God,
That was
fuck
so
that.
rough.
These are the, if hell is real, those are the people going there. The people that made that commercial, the people that talk like that, they're the ones fucking going to hell.
I literally can't believe that they just
Actually put alt-right propaganda in the middle of the Super Bowl. It was Fox. I'm
Well,
not
yeah.
surprised that they
There's
allowed
that.
it. I'm just surprised that there was no greater team that was like, hey, maybe we keep religion, a notoriously touchy topic, out of the Super Bowl commercials. Oh, that made me mad.
Yeah, that was awful. That was so awful.
Anyway, y'all have a great week. Sorry for bringing it down out of nowhere in the last second here, but
No. You stand by this.
I don't stand by it. I was trying to end it on trucker voice, but then you brought that up, and that's
Yep,
God.
sorry, your trucker voice reminded me of the us in Jesus.
God, jeez, us.
Can you? I just unbelievable.
Unbelievable.